Hello and welcome to this very first episode of VMTV Chronicles. My name is Kyle Diamond and today I'll be chatting to Brendan Loughnane. Brendan is fighting this Friday night in the PFL's return against Moraes. It's a card that also features the PFL debut of Anthony Showtime Pettis. Without further ado, Brendan Loughnane. It's my absolute pleasure to be joined by Brendan Loughnane ahead of his fight this Friday night against Moraes. Brendan, when I think of fighters that have always had a consistent narrative every fight, you're one of the only ones I can think of, because for a long time it was, is this fight going to get him that shot back in the UFC? When do you look at this fight? Because I think that's kind of changed, at least from a fan's viewpoint. That chapter kind of, it led up to the Contender Series, and then I'm sure that, you know, for some people that continued with, you know, that point of, well, look, he's still putting on great performances. How's it still not happening? But how do you view it in terms of that narrative? Is it changed for you now?
Yeah, that narrative's completely gone. That narrative was like, okay, Brendan, UFC, like that ship sailed now for me, just for now anyway. My main focus is Shaman, $1 million and a world title, laser-like focus, and that's what. There's no other goal for me right now.
I'm sure this is a narrative that's been brought up to you a lot in the last couple of years since that Contender Series fight with Bill Algeo then going on to be in the UFC. Is there a part of you that, because Shaman was in the UFC and fought some of the best in the division, is that an added bonus for you to get to prove that you can hang with those like top level guys?
Well, just the fact that I didn't get signed and Bill Algeo did a week later, it was like, that was just a whole, I don't know, you can say what you want, but he did. He got signed and he's in there and he's winning fights. So to say that I wasn't good enough, it's just a ludicrous argument, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I like Bill. I went and trained with Bill when I landed in the States this year. So great guy. Happy for him doing well. He's got his road now. I've got my road. Shaman has performed in the UFC. And I'm ready to perform to the best of my ability. I've had a great camp and there's no excuses.
I know with the PFL, you don't get, you know, there's no phone call to say you're going to fight this guy, no opportunity to say, but what about this guy? But when I looked at the matchups and saw that you've been put with Shaman, it made total sense. Obviously, with that narrative of him being in the UFC, but also just the fighting styles. Is that something that when you saw that it was him in particular, was that again an added bonus to this fight?
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to try and wrestle fuck me, are they? You know what I mean? He's going to try and fucking punch my face in. And they're the type of fights I relish. You know, they're the type of ones that like get me excited and get me nervous and get me ready, get me up for it. So the fact that he's coming to kill me really helps me, really. It'd be the fact that he's so aggressive and it lends to my style, my counter fighting ability. So let's see.
I think when the news came out about you signing with the PFL, the three things that I thought of, at least from listening to you speak about it and stuff, like the three kind of driving factors seem like the level of competition is there, the fact that you can fight consistently with their tournament style, and the money is now there as well with the PFL in recent years. You know, they've really come a long way. Speaking about the first of those, the quality of fighters, this season is ridiculous. Like I said, the PFL's come a long way in the last couple of years. Was that a big thing for you? Because I know that there were potential other offers on the table and stuff at the time. Was that level of quality that you could face a driving factor?
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to have regrets after my career and be like, I wonder how I would have done against this guy. I wonder how I would have done against that guy. So this year it's all on the table, and the level of opposition's there, and world-class opposition is what I relish, and I'm looking forward to testing myself against some of the best guys in the division on this earth.
And with the tournament style as well, like I know that activity was a big driving factor for you, which has obviously been difficult over the last couple of years. But that tournament style, again, you're just one of those fighters that it makes total sense for you. Like, I know from listening to you speak that you're a guy that you want to stay as active as possible, and it can be difficult to get fights, especially in that period before the Contender Series when you were fighting for different promotions here and there and stuff. So how much does that tournament style of the fights in the PFL again add to this whole
Yeah, I mean, activity is everything for me now. If these are saying that they can get 5 fights in potentially this year. They're going to do 4-fight tournament and then maybe one at the end of the year, just as like a card. So 5 fights, mate, in 6 months. I'm a guy that doesn't take my foot off the pedal all year. So the fact that I could get 5 fights in is brilliant. And that's exactly what I want to be doing. Why would I not want to be active? This is how I live this. This is my life. So the fact that I could get 5 more names on my record by the end of the year really excites me.
And the third thing I said about the money and how the PFL's come a long way in the last few years, you're a guy that has fought for so many different promotions. Like, how good is it from your standpoint? Because for a long time, the UFC was the be all and end all. And then Bellator came through and the PFL and stuff like that. So how much of a benefit is that to you? Because there was a while where this wouldn't have been an option.
Yeah, good point. I mean, MMA's emerging, the whole sport's growing, and all the promotions are growing at the same time, and there's healthy competition now. The fact that PFL have signed Pettis, Rory, Fabricio Verdum, it's massive moves, and I think they're going to continue to grow as a company.
Talking about things like fighter pay and stuff, how has your experience been? Like I said, because you fought for so many different promotions, and for a while it seemed like your track was back to the UFC, but then, like I said, with promotions like Bellator and the PFL taking off a bit, now there's more options and stuff. Do you think that that empowers the fighters more from your standpoint?
Yeah, 100%. There's options out there now. I'm getting at least double what I've been getting in the UFC for what I got signed that night. So, I'm happy with my contract, and there's $1 million at the end of it. So, how can I complain?
Yeah. So again, kind of in reference to the fact that you've been and fought in so many different places, and I know that you've trained in a lot of different places as well. Like you've been over at Tiger Muay Thai for a long time now. Is the plan to stick with Tiger Muay Thai? I'm sure you can't wait to get back out there.
Tiger Muay Thai is probably the best gym I've ever trained at. It's so diverse. You've got people from all over the world that are training there. You've got the Brazilians, you've got the Dagestanis, you've got the Eastern Europeans, and everyone's got their own little section. And I really love training there. And I'll be really looking forward to getting back. TK MMA was also a great place to train. Emerging now, coming up. A lot of people seem to be going to Dubai. It's a hot spot. So big shout out to Tam and Sean and Johnny and the guys there, because they've really, really helped me for this camp, and I owe them a lot for this one.
How does training in those kind of places differ to training back home? Because as a UK fight fan, I like striking as much as the next guy, but thinking of that Contender Series fight, there's something for me about seeing a Brit shoot for a takedown, especially against an American guy, and get it. That's like, it's almost like an extra little tick for me, like an extra little bit.
We've come a long way, haven't we? I mean, look at Arnold Allen, look at all these guys, look at Leon Edwards. We can out wrestle them now. And I think we've come a long way as a country with our levels, and the Americans are taking us serious now. We're going to have a few European champions this year.
How does that, have you noticed that just from how long you've been training, like with training back home and then training elsewhere? Have you seen that level improve just from like your standpoint?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the tide turning. I've seen like a lot of people used to go to America to do the camps, and now they don't. I mean, a lot of people stay in the UK now and do theirs, and we're still going over and beating their best guys. So let's see, man. I think UK MMA is on the rise big time. I think we're going to get a few world champions this year.
Without obviously you're not looking past Shaman at all, but with the tournament style, you could be matched up against different people, and then it's like you say, this constant activity. When you look at the rest of the tournament, how do you kind of see it as a whole?
Very difficult, very hard fights. Every fighter is 3 or 4 world-class wrestlers. Then you've got Khabib's main sparring partner, Mavleed, 15-0. And you've got some Korean guy who seems really good. Then you've got just talent from all over the world. It's the best that they could find that wasn't already signed, really. So it's going to be a difficult tournament, mate. But I'm one of the best featherweights in the world. I know that. I've sparred everyone. I've been there. I know where I'm at, and I know this is my time to prove it.
Does this feel like kind of, again, from a fan standpoint, from watching you over the years, it always felt for ages in between the Ultimate Fighter and between the Contender Series, it was getting that second shot, however it came, whether it was in the end it was the Contender Series, but it must be so refreshing to have this end goal in point now that you have with the PFL, where you've got something that you can achieve in 6 months.
Exactly. I've got fight dates now. I've got opponents. I've got structure. I can balance my life. And I've got a fucking crazy obsession with getting this world title, mate. And it's going to take a lot to take this away from me.
Does that feel like, again, like I said at the start, with like a new chapter? Does this feel like kind of a second part, with, you know, second, maybe third or fourth, but a new chapter compared to where you were at, even without fighting in recent times? Does it still feel like a new chapter? It's
a fresh look, and I've always lacked structure with an organisation. I've always been flying around different ones. I'm in PFL. I'm happy with PFL, and I'm looking forward to really getting involved with them on a bigger scale as well, like with media, and they really push me as well. And I'm the only guy in the organisation from the UK, so let's get behind me in the UK, man. Come on, you got this UK guy here flying the flag over here, fighting all these Americans and Brazilians. You know what I mean? Let's do it.
How's that response been since the Contender Series? Because I think for a long time, if you'd ask people those UK MMA fans that will watch other promotions outside of the UFC, if there's a UK guy fighting, if you'd ask them who the most underrated guy in the UK was, I think a lot of them would have said you. And then you had the Contender Series thing, and it felt like everyone rallied around you, even people who aren't UK MMA fans specifically, kind of rallied around you like, how's this guy not got that? Have you felt that from that moment?
Yeah, I mean, even guys like Ariel Loughnane, Luke Thomas, guys that never really took notice before, really got behind me. So I feel like there is added pressure now, because I've got this name like, oh shit, Brendan is world class, so it's up to me now to go and prove how good I am.
And like you said, you're in a tournament full of not only world class fighters, but Americans, Brazilians, and stuff. Like, you really are the representative for UK MMA in the PFL.
On my own, the only guy. So yeah, it's exciting, and I like it. I like the pressure.
Wicked, mate. I feel like I know what you're gonna say with this, and judging from your other PFL performances, I wouldn't be surprised. But how do you see the fight going this Friday?
I don't really do predictions, but I've trained really hard, and I've done everything I possibly can. I've ticked every box. The rest in God's hands, mate. Let's see.
Wicked, mate. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best with the fight on Friday. Worries. Thank you for joining us for this very first episode of VMTV Chronicles. Brendan's fight takes place this Friday night against Moraes in the first round of the PFL tournament. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode, and keep an eye out for the 4th episode of The Violent Mike, which features professional boxer Martin Furo.